In this info, you will learn the two main motivators behind all human behavior and how to recognize what makes behaviors good or bad. After this, you will be able to make better daily choices and take control of your destiny. Check it out. Hey all teen voices out there! There are many theories and models about human behavior, but if we boil it all down, there are really only two main motivators behind it all: the drive to gain pleasure and the drive to avoid pain. And here I mean both physical and mental pleasure and pain. Yes, we are all motivated by these two, pleasure and pain. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have an important exam 4 weeks from now, and you know that you need at least 1 week of really hard work or 2 weeks of comfortable work to prepare for it. 4 weeks seem like a long time, so you choose not to worry about it for now. Instead, you spend time socializing with friends, watching television, and checking Facebook. All these things give you pleasure, while studying is more linked to pain because of all the focus and isolation required. In other words, you choose to avoid pain and instead focus on short-term pleasure. As days go by, you start feeling a growing worry that you are running out of time. You know that if you fail the exam, it will have consequences and lead to long-term pain for you. The closer you come to 1 week before the exam, the larger this pain becomes. And finally, it reaches a point where the pain of not preparing for the exam takes over from the short-term pleasure you get from socializing with friends. So when there's about 1 week left, you push yourself into action and start studying. Yes, this is only one example, but it clearly shows how important our reaction to pain and pleasure is. In fact, our way of dealing with this will deeply influence how our lives will be. It will form our destiny. So now that we know about our drive to gain pleasure and to avoid pain, how can we use this in a good way? To look more into that, we will divide human behavior into 4 classes. Class 1, behavior. This kind of behavior gives you both short and long-term pleasure. More specifically, a class 1 behavior feels good, is good for you, and is good for others. Some examples: giving love to another person, charitable work, working with something that you enjoy and that helps other people in their lives, and relaxing or spending time with the people you love. Class 1 behaviors are truly good. However, we normally spend only a small amount of our time on these behaviors. Class 2 behavior. A Class 2 behavior typically means short-term pain that will lead to long-term pleasure. More specifically, a Class 2 behavior doesn't feel good, but is good for you and is good for others. Some examples: studying for a test, exercising, asking someone out on a date, taking a risk by applying for a job, or by starting up a new business. Class 2 behaviors are the things that are good for us, but that we often postpone for later because of the short-term pain involved. Spending more time on Class 2 behaviors is often the key to a good life. Class 3 behavior. A Class 3 behavior gives you short-term pleasure that often results in long-term pain. More specifically, a Class 3 behavior feels good but is not good for you and is not good for others. Some examples: bossing people around, overeating, gossiping about other people, drinking too much alcohol, smoking, using drugs, watching YouTube too much, and procrastinating. Procrastinate: to postpone things you need to do for later. Class 3 behaviors are all the things we do that feel good at the moment, but can lead to serious consequences and great pain later on in life. Many of us spend lots of time on these behaviors. Class 4 behavior. A Class 4 behavior means both short and long-term pain. More specifically, a Class 4 behavior doesn't feel good, isn't good for you, and isn't good for others. So Class 4 behaviors really are a choice of short-term pain that normally leads to even more long-term pain. Does that sound like something that any sane person would choose? Probably not. Yet we all do this from time to time for different reasons. Some examples: worrying about things you can't control, getting angry over things other people do, staying in a bad relationship or career, and repeatedly risking all your money on high-risk projects or gambling. You will find it easier to understand why these behaviors happen if you watch my Vinfo 6 Human Needs. For example, some people stay in a bad relationship because it fulfills their need for safety and comfort and their need for connection. And other people gamble and put themselves at risk because they are looking to fulfill their need for excitement. So how can we now use what we know about the 4 classes of behavior? Well, your insight into these 4 classes now makes it possible for you to decide what type of behaviors that you want to spend your time on. You can make better daily choices, and by that, take control of your destiny. The goal is to spend as much time as possible on Class 1 and Class 2 behaviors. These are the behaviors that will lead to long-term pleasure. It's also important to be aware of the seductive power of Class 3 behaviors. They make you feel good short-term, but they will eventually lead to great long-term pain for you, maybe even death. Try to avoid them. And Class 4 behaviors, well, by being aware of them, you can work on making these a smaller and smaller part of your life. Okay, we have now covered some very important points. I hope you can use this information to build the best life possible for yourself and for the people that you love. That's all for now. Be good to each other out there.